Florida springs. They are natural wonders that have mesmerized visitors for generations.
And then I thought, no, actually, the springs are a force.
People to see it. It's out of sight, out of mind. It's underground. It's as beautiful as the Grand Canyon. Most people have no idea it even exists.
Florida's springs have always looked calm and peaceful, with clear water reflecting sunlight and quiet surroundings. But under that calm surface, something strange and worrying is happening. Scientists who explored these waters have found a hidden world that changes what we thought we knew about Florida's nature. From huge old bones of animals that are now gone to foreign species quietly changing life here, the waters hold secrets that could change how we see the past and the present. What else might be hiding under these calm waters, waiting for someone to find it? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. The not-so-peaceful discovery beneath the water of Florida's spring. Florida is well known throughout the world for its stunning springs, which are clear, pure pools of water
Florida is the undisputed spring capital of the world
that look almost magical when the sun shines on them. Millions of visitors come to these springs each year to swim, relax, dive, or just take in the good sight of a good blue pool covered by trees and fresh air. However, under these bright surfaces is a deep old world full with stories that date back thousands of years. This is something that most people are unaware of and always never even consider. Scientists and scholars explain that these springs are truly windows into a world long gone, a world shaped during the Ice Age, when big animals walked over the world. What looked quiet today was once home to big beasts, wild landscapes, and a totally different kind of life. During that time, the earth was colder, the forests were thicker in some places, and many of the creatures that lived here were much bigger than any land animals we see in Florida today. These animals walked near rivers, lakes, and swamps, which made these areas full of life. Over time, as these giant animals lived, moved around, and eventually died, many of their bones ended up in deep pockets of the earth. These pockets later filled with water and became the springs we see now. Florida's land is full of sinkholes. Over thousands of years, water slowly covered the subsurface rock, creating these sinkholes. Deep holes would result from bits of land falling inside as the granite wore away. Some of these sinkholes became the springs that people visit today, as they filled with new groundwater. As a result, old bones can be found in many of these areas. The bones stayed protected for thousands of years because they sank gently toward the bottom and were covered from the sun, wind, and weather. Scientists always use diving gear to get far below the surface in order to check these water regions. They sometimes come upon the bones of huge animals, like mastodons with thick fur, mammoths with big tusks, and other Ice Age monsters as they carefully travel the rocky floors. These findings aid experts in understanding the past form of Florida. They can find how these animals lived, what they ate, how they traveled, and how the climate affected their lives by checking their bones. Every finding adds to a larger story of ancient life in North America. The Florida Museum of Natural History is one place that is vital to the protection and research of these findings. This museum is among the biggest in the world, and one of the biggest natural history museums in the entire United States. Inside its collection are more than 1 million fossils, pieces of ancient animals, plants, and other forms of life that lived during the last several million years. Scientists from all over come to this museum to study these fossils because the museum holds some of the most important records of ancient animals on the continent. The collection is a potent hub for education and research because of its size and careful safekeeping. However, the springs themselves, which are spread throughout Florida, are always the most interesting places for both tourists and scientists. There are over 1,000 natural springs in Florida, and each one has something unique to offer. Some are tiny and hidden amid peaceful forests. Others, like Devil's Den, are large, deep sinkholes with water so clear that divers may see ancient bones at the bottom. Devil's Den is well known for the way sunlight streams in through the aperture above, giving the water a blue and green hue. Individuals who swim or dive there always report feeling as though they are stepping into another reality where the past is still alive under their feet. Divers may easily explore other parts of the sinkhole at places like Devil's Den, since the water is so clear and visibility is so good. They always glide across ledges and rocks that were formerly the limit of the continent during the Ice Age. They sometimes even come upon fossils that have stayed in one place for thousands of years. These fossils serve as a reminder to tourists that life on Earth is always evolving, expanding, and growing, and that the planet around them has seen plenty changes. They tell the story of Florida's past, while giving people a chance to explore the natural world in a peaceful and exciting setting. Every spring, every sinkhole, and every fossil adds another piece to the long, complex story of life in Florida. If these ancient springs once held the giants of the past, what do they mean for the living world we see today? And what deeper lessons are still flowing through their waters now? Let's learn more. The living waters, lessons of the past, and warnings for our future. Another major place that captures the heart of Florida's history is Silver Springs State Park. This location is known for having some of the strongest, most powerful springs in the region. Some of these springs push out more than 65 million gallons of clean, fresh water every single day. That amount of water shows just how alive the underground landscape truly is. Beneath the soil, tunnels of water twist and flow, feeding the springs that people see on the surface. This hidden system keeps the water cool, clean, and full of life. In addition to its natural beauty, Silver Springs is well known for its iconic glass-bottom boat tours.
Silver Springs State Park, which is known for its crystal clear waters and world-famous glass-bottom boat tours.
Visitors can gaze directly into the water without getting wet, thanks to the transparent panels on the bottom of these boats. All ages of tourists board, take a seat, and gaze down into the sparkling blue ocean. They observe sunshine beaming deep into the water, plants softly waving with the current, and fish lazily floating across the sandy bottom. Some tourists even manage to catch a glimpse of ancient artifacts or remnants that are still under the surface. Silver Springs is a place where history and nature meet in front of visitors because of this singular experience. Florida's springs are more than just a tourist destination. For thousands of years, they have been vital to life. Fish habitats, clean water for plant growth, and drinking supplies for animals were all made possible by the fresh, flowing water. The springs were already functioning as calm, stable, and dependable hubs of life long before people came. Like modern species, the animals of the Ice Age depended seriously on these springs. Scientists claim that by checking the fossils found in the springs, they have been able to understand the reasons behind the extinction of some huge animals. By carefully checking old bones, scientists can find the kinds of stresses that the animals had to deal with, such as shifting climates, dwindling food supplies, or other environmental issues. These studies focus on both the past and the future. Scientists can use this information to better understand what might happen to new huge species like rhinos and elephants if people are careless. According to one researcher, a cow might be the largest land mammal that remains if today's big creatures go. Even while cows are important animals in their own right, the extinction of elephants, rhinos, and other big species would totally change the natural world. This idea is depressing and unnerving to many. It serves as a reminder that extinction is a real possibility and can occur more quickly than most people believe. With their serene water and old bones, Florida's springs serve as a warning of how much the world might lose if nature is ignored or damaged. They show the weak state of life and the ease with which a species can go away forever once its surroundings start to change. Important lessons about protecting the environment, being mindful of animal needs, and appreciating the equilibrium that keeps life are imparted by the springs. The beauty of survival can also be seen in these seas. the springs still flow, giving humans, animals, and plants life, despite the world's numerous changes. They silently steer the future while carrying tales from the past. Every fossil found far below the surface of the ocean is like a whispered message from a bygone era, urging us to keep watch, educate ourselves, and save the current world. On the surface, the springs are still serene, yet underlying that serene appearance is the Earth's lengthy history. The way scientists investigate life, how people interact with nature, and how we interpret the need to preserve the environment for future generations are all still influenced by that experience. Florida's springs are more than natural wonders. They are teachers, storytellers, and reminders of everything the Earth has been and everything it can still become. If the Ice Age giants and their landscapes shaped Florida's past, how did early humans navigate, survive, and leave their mark in these watery worlds? Let's take a closer look. Florida's ancient waters, hunters, giants, and lost landscapes. Florida's rivers, springs, and sinkholes are more than just beautiful natural spots. They are windows into a world that existed thousands of years ago. These waters hold fossils and artifacts that tell the story of giant animals,
giant bears with thick fur bristling in the wind,
early humans, and changing landscapes. At Ecology Springs, scientists discovered a mastodon skeleton slowly being washed out of the riverbank. Because the bones are exposed to the flowing water, they risk being lost or moved, which would make it impossible to know whether humans ever interacted with the animal. Close to the skeleton, small stone flakes and larger points were found, suggesting that early humans may have been present while the mastodon lived. These finds give insight into how people and animals may have shared the same space and how humans may have hunted or processed these large creatures. It is quite hard to work in underwater surroundings. Digging are slow and hard because of cold water, strong currents, mud, and darkness. Scientists must handle soft fossils and artifacts with accuracy while being careful and mindful of safety. Although it might be physically taxing and irritating, learning about living in the distant past is important. Every detail counts, because errors might destroy important information about the animals that always visited the area and how people lived. Located on the Abyssal River, Page Ladson is a deep sinkhole that is among Florida's oldest and most important sites. This place predates the first Americans as rarely known and contains fossils and artifacts that are over 14,400 years old. This finding called into question the prior notion that humans arrived in North America roughly 13,000 years ago. Page Ladson shows that people may have lived in Florida long before the famous Clovis culture, making it a crucial site for understanding early human history. At Page Ladson and other locations, scientists have found evidence that humans and Ice Age animals lived close together. The fossils include mastodons, extinct camels, bison, and horses. Marks on a mastodon tusk show they were made while the animal was alive, meaning it was butchered by humans. Small stone flakes found in the same layers suggest that tools were crafted close to these animals, maybe for hunting or meat processing. The ancient topography of Florida was markedly different from what it is now. Much of the state was made of open grassland rather than swamps and forests. While mastodons fed on trees and shrubs, mammoths fed on grass. The ecology changed over time, changed between wide plains, oak savannas, and pine savannas, according to pollen studies. Sinkholes and freshwater springs were very important to existence and attracted both people and animals. Archaeologists rely on three key things to understand ancient sites: clear layers of sediment, artifacts that are undisturbed, and reliable dates from organic material. Page Ladson has excellent sediment layers, which make the dates of fossils and tools trustworthy. This allows scientists to reconstruct the timing and context of human and animal activity over 14,000 years ago. The development of underwater excavation techniques was greatly aided by early explorers and volunteers. To move mud and collect weak fossils, they they created tools like dredges. These methods, which were first created with little money and equipment, are now used all over the world. These days, teams continue their effort regardless of tools issues, hurricanes, and flooding. But their strong will guarantees important findings. Small squares, typically 1 by 1 meter, are dug out, and each item is carefully labeled. In fact, low visibility underwater can help researchers focus by reducing distractions and helping or aiding methodical work. Archaeologists can feel and find fossils, bones, and artifacts that offer a unique window into the past, regardless of the fact that they always have limited vision. Because of the abundance of limestone and sinkholes in the Abyssal River region, humans were able to hunt huge animals in natural traps. Deep banks were sculpted by ancient rivers, and people probably used these natural features. Many prehistoric sites are still unknown today, showing that a big portion of Florida's prehistoric past is still hidden and locked underwater. Sea levels were around 300 feet lower 15,000 years ago, and many of prehistoric springs were dry sinkholes. Both humans and animals needed freshwater sources, which led to hubs of activity. Columbian mammoths, mastodons, horses, bison, llamas, and extinct camels were all found in Florida. While people hunted and gathered near springs and sinkholes, these big creatures were free to roam the broad grasslands. For thousands of years, fossils, remains, pollen, and stone tools were protected and kept in the sediment under the river. Florida is a special location for studying the Ice Age because of these factors. By examining the preserved evidence, scientists can understand the interactions between humans and animals, how the environment changed, and what life may have been like in Florida long before the present day. If Florida's ancient landscapes and hidden sinkholes already hint at secrets beneath its rivers and springs, could the deeper offshore waters be hiding dangers far bigger and far closer to disaster than anyone imagined? Stay tuned for more. Florida's hidden underwater dangers. Florida's waters and coastlines are showing surprising and worrying changes. In 2025, scientists discovered problems under the sea that could affect both nature and people. They found large underwater holes,
Springs underwater cave system. These underground hidden rivers flow beneath our feet and make up the Floridan aquifer.
collapsing limestone layers, strange seismic pulses, and sections of the continental shelf that might be unstable. These findings suggest that Florida's seafloor is not as safe as people thought, and they raise serious concerns for marine life, infrastructure, and nearby communities. Off the coast, near Tampa Bay, researchers found a huge sinkhole underwater. It is about 400 feet wide and 100 feet deep. Comparing sonar data from past years shows that this sinkhole formed quickly or grew much faster than expected. Experts think underwater erosion or collapsing limestone layers may be causing it. Methane gas bubbles rise from its edges, meaning organic matter or frozen gas under the sediment may be breaking down. Fish avoid this area, and scientists warn that low oxygen zones could form. Similar sinkholes along the shelf could create bigger problems if not studied carefully. The amberjack blue hole near Sarasota showed another surprise. Divers discovered that it connects to freshwater underground flowing from inland aquifers. Water from deep in the hole matched minerals and microbes from far inland. This suggests a large underground water system. Some parts of the hole go sideways under the seabed, while others drop straight down into deep darkness, making it dangerous for divers. Scientists are worried that salt water or pollution could reach these hidden waterways and affect drinking water. In early 2025, unusual low-level seismic pulses were recorded near the Florida escarpment. Unlike normal earthquakes, these tremors were evenly spaced, like a heartbeat. Experts believe they may be caused by gas pockets or movement under the seafloor, not tectonic shifts. Methane hydrates could be involved. These tremors suggest that the seafloor may be weakening and could lead to underwater landslides or local tsunamis. Satellite images revealed long cracks along Florida's outer continental shelf. Such fractures are unusual in areas like Florida. These cracks appear in bands and sometimes meet old fault lines. The sediment here is soft clay mixed with sand, making it easy to collapse. If these cracks spread or connect, the shelf could become unstable, affecting infrastructure, fisheries, and coastlines. Near the Florida Keys, buried coral reefs over 130,000 years old were found inland from today's shore. They show that sea levels have risen and fallen rapidly in the past. Fossilized mangrove roots suggest that the land went underwater and back above water many times. These past changes warn that Florida's coasts could also change quickly in the future. Off Fort Myers, sonar data showed the seafloor suddenly dropped by about 2.3 meters across 1.5 kilometers. Sediment tests show that limestone under the area may have collapsed, possibly causing methane hydrates to release gas. Such events could damage subsea cables and might even create small tsunamis. INSAR satellite data detected ripple patterns in the seabed near Naples. Scientists think these ripples come from pressure in underground water pockets. Gas, mainly methane, was found in some of the ripples, showing that fluids are moving below the sediment. These changes could trigger underwater landslides, which may damage infrastructure and cause waves to reach the shore. In the Florida Panhandle, drilling revealed growing underground caverns near Apalachicola. Some are over 30 feet high and 200 feet long. Acidic groundwater is slowly dissolving limestone, forming empty spaces that could collapse. Human activities like farm runoff and septic leakage may speed up this process. If these caverns keep growing, sinkholes or ground failures could harm homes, roads, and wetlands, especially during storms. Finally, near the dry Tortugas, researchers found vertical gas plumes rising from the sea floor. This area was thought to be stable. The plumes suggest that geological changes are active, and the seafloor is not as calm as expected. Overall, Florida's underwater environment is changing quickly. From sinkholes and blue holes to seismic pulses, cracks in the shelf, and growing caverns, scientists are warning that the sea floor is becoming unstable. These changes could affect wildlife, water supplies, coastal communities, and infrastructure. Continuous research and careful monitoring are essential to understand these hazards and prepare for the risks below Florida's waters. What if these underwater mysteries are only the beginning? Could Florida be hiding an even larger, more dangerous system beneath its southeastern seabed? Let's delve deeper. Florida's underwater geological discovery. In 2025, scientists discovered a surprising geological formation beneath the southeastern Atlantic seabed near Florida. During a routine high-resolution seismic scan, this feature, now known as the abyssal bloom, was found. The hollow is about 140 square miles in size and reaches relatively deep, showing that it came rapidly from inside the former few thousand years.
Going back to the Cenozoic age, the Paleozoic age.
A very short geological time span. The finding caused a rare red alert, which is only issued for situations with potentially dangerous and quick results, due to its amazing size and properties. Methane hydrates are a lot in the sediments surrounding the hole. Methane gas is trapped by these ice-like crystals, which are only stable at high pressure and temperature conditions. Researchers found that methane was seeping into the water and that the hydrates were not stable. Methane is a strong greenhouse gas, and its release could affect ocean chemistry and the atmosphere if it continues. Florida is usually seen as geologically quiet. It sits on an old carbonate platform and rests above faults formed millions of years ago during the breakup of the supercontinent Pangaea. These faults were thought to be inactive, sealed under layers of sediment. However, the new discovery shows signs of reactivated faults, micro-earthquakes, and rock movement along the cavity's edges. Scientists also found an unknown mineral lining the cavity walls, suggesting unexpected hydrothermal activity. Hydrothermal systems usually indicate magma movement or heated fluids underground and are linked to tectonic activity. Finding this far from plate boundaries is unusual and raises questions about whether dormant systems are waking up. The area's marine life is showing changes. The methane vents were surrounded by groups of bioluminescent bacteria. The quick development of these extremophile organisms, which always stay close to deep-sea vents, suggests that the local environment is changing. Fisheries, coral reefs, and Florida's tourism industry, which depends on clear seas and healthy marine life, may all be impacted by such changes. It's possible that the abyssal bloom's structure is unstable. Scientists warn that underwater landslides could occur if it falls. These landslides have the potential to cause tsunamis and transport big amounts and volumes of silt. Simulations show that a worst-case collapse may drive waves toward Florida's coast, including inhabited places like Miami and the Florida Keys, even if the void is offshore. Quick underwater slides can cause tsunamis far from their source, as shown by historical situations like the Storegga slide off Norway 8,000 years ago. Small levels of helium-3, a rare isotope linked with deep mantle processes, were also found in gas check. This hints that the anomaly might be related to reservoirs and old geological systems that haven't been used in millions of years. Roughly every 50,000 years, organic-rich strata were found in sediment cores, which fit with former climate changes and rising sea levels. The abyssal bloom may be a part of a long-term geological cycle that always modifies ocean chemistry and climate, according to scientific theories. According to seafloor mapping, the cavity is a part of a network of related pressure chambers and voids. Methane emissions and seabed changes may result from these slow growth and contraction. This movement could trigger mud eruptions, gas emissions, or cold seep activity, potentially destabilizing the region over time. Satellite and ocean monitoring detected subtle environmental changes. The Gulf Stream, near the site, is being watched for shifts in speed, salinity, or temperature. Acoustic surveys recorded unusual underwater sounds, including deep moans and sharp pulses. Some of these sounds affect whale communication and naval sonar. The region's magnetic field values have also changed, maybe as a result of tectonic stress or iron-rich fluids. The behavior of marine creatures and navigation may be impacted by these aberrations. Scientists have created a monitoring network using satellites, autonomous submersibles, drones, and research vessels to check the faults. They take real-time measurements of water chemistry, seismic activity, and other factors. The Red Alert status talks about how serious it is to understand the dangers linked with the abyssal bloom. The finding casts doubt on beliefs regarding the geological stability of Florida. Also, it offers a chance to research hydrothermal habitats and early Earth processes. By checking microbes, minerals, and sediment, scientists aim to learn more about the history of the planet and the beginning of life. The abyssal bloom presents an opportunity for scientific research, as well as a possible threat. Geology, oceanography, biology, and climate science are just a few of the disciplines that have joined since its discovery. As the formation continues to evolve, researchers are watching carefully, seeking to understand its effects before nature acts. If Florida's springs still guard hidden secrets beneath their waters, could the discovery of mammoth bones and ancient human tools reveal just how deep the story of the first Floridians truly runs? Let's find out. Ancient hunters of Florida, mammoths, mastodons, and early humans.
We have our mastodon and our woolly mammoth, and just to imagine them walking around where we're out.
Long before Native Americans hunted bison on the Great Plains, people in North America were hunting much larger animals, including mammoths and mastodons. While hundreds of images of these extinct creatures have been found in Europe, few examples had been discovered in the Americas until recently. In Vero Beach, Florida, a fossil hunter found a fragment of bone with an engraving showing a trunked animal with a short head and long tusks. The carving closely resembles similar images found in Europe and Siberia, suggesting that ancient people in Florida created artistic representations of the animals they hunted. Vero Beach had already been known for important discoveries. In 1915 and 1916, human bones were found in association with large Pleistocene animals. Initially, scientists doubted that these fossils were that old, and many did not accept that humans lived in Florida during the Pleistocene. However, new research confirms that these bones date to that time period, making them some of the oldest human remains verified in North America. The mammoth and mastodon remains in Florida show clear evidence of human activity. Carved tusks, stone tools, and butchered bones indicate that ancient humans hunted these massive animals and used tools to process their meat. These findings demonstrate that humans lived alongside Pleistocene megafauna for at least 2,000 years before these animals disappeared. Evidence also points to the presence of early domesticated dogs in Florida. Excavations at sites such as Page Ladson, near Tallahassee, uncovered dog remains alongside butchered mastodon bones. These early dogs likely assisted humans in hunting large game, helping to track, hold, and guard animals. Their involvement would have increased hunting efficiency, reduced the energy needed to obtain food, and improved overall nutrition, supporting higher survival and reproduction rates for human populations. The Page Ladson site has been radiocarbon dated to about 14,600 years ago, making it one of the oldest pre-Clovis sites in the Americas. Other rare sites exist in North America, including Texas, Oregon, Washington, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and parts of South America. These sites are scarce, not because they did not exist, but because populations were small at the time, and many coastal locations are now submerged due to rising sea levels since the end of the Ice Age. The discoveries in Florida also show striking similarities with sites in Europe and Siberia. In Europe, archaeologists have found massive collections of mammoth bones, human shelters built from bones, and evidence of dogs helping humans hunt large animals. In both regions, humans demonstrated advanced hunting skills and tool use, showing that early populations in distant areas developed similar strategies for survival. Researchers have suggested several possible migration routes to Florida. Early people may have traveled by boat along the Pacific coast, crossed central Mexico, and followed the Gulf Coast. Alternatively, they could have moved down the Atlantic coast from the Arctic. Regardless of the path, these people were skilled at finding fresh water, locating game, crafting tools, and managing domesticated dogs to assist with hunting. The animal remains from Florida also help explain the extinction of Pleistocene megafauna. Species present included mastodons, mammoths, giant sloths, giant armadillos, deer wolves, horses, camels, and giant bison. Climate and environmental changes at the end of the Ice Age were the main causes of their extinction. However, humans also likely had an impact, although it was gradual. These findings challenge the idea that humans rapidly hunted these animals to extinction. Overall, the evidence from Florida shows that early humans were highly capable and adaptive. Carvings on bones, butchered tusks, stone tools, and the presence of dogs indicate a society that hunted large game, moved across long distances, and developed cultural and artistic practices. They lived alongside massive animals, managed complex hunting strategies, and adapted to their environment with remarkable skill. These discoveries confirm that humans were present in the Americas thousands of years earlier than previously thought, and reveal a level of sophistication in hunting, migration, and daily life that continues to expand our understanding of prehistoric human populations. What do you think about the findings beneath the water of Florida's springs? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for joining us as we dove into the mysterious depths of Florida's springs, uncovering hidden threats lurking beneath calm waters. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the next video on your screen to explore more secrets hidden beneath the surface of our world. See you there.